This will be video number 20 in the 6-cycle oddball series. Today we're going to make this little pulley, and this is also the starter. And what I have is this to put in the electric drill so I can start it easy. The original plan called for a little crank, which really looks nice, but it doesn't work very well. And I only did that on the first one, and I never used it. So you can start the engine by just putting your palm of your hand on the flywheel and giving it a spin. That little crank, you can't really flick it fast enough, and you can only go about halfway around before you get it pulls out. So this works really good with the electric drill, and I'll show you how I made it. To make this with this is a piece of inch and 3/8 steel, and I've got a line on it here. It's this wide. This is all I have left of that. So what I got to do is I want to just turn this down so I can get a better grip on it first. So that's just a way to grab it. I'm going to do that first and turn it around and then make the pulley. Okay. So now we're going to face it off and bore the hole through it. I have to get in there deep enough to ream that hole, so I'm going beyond the width of the pulley. This is the last drill. This is a U drill, and it's just under 3/8. Now I'm going to do this undercut with a round nose tool. What I did is I ground this so that I can cut in both directions. It's square across, and it's just a round-ended tool. Very simple. Now, this means nothing. It's just for looks, so I'm just going to do this by eye. Have a look. Remember that it's going to taper a little bit, so I have to stay somewhat away from the edge. I'll probably go into about there. Let's try that. Now, on the outside, I have to raise this above the center. On the inside, it was perfect, but so I have to raise this up to get a decent finish on the outside edge. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to put the taper on one side, and then I'm going to take it over to the mill, and I'm going to make these two little notches in the side for the starter. I'm going to start off with about a 2-degree taper on this and see what it looks like. I'm pretty sure that's what I usually do, but check the height of it. It's good. Needs a little more than that 2 degrees. I'll finish that off with a file after I flip it around. But that's ready for the mill. So what we're going to do is put a notch in each side that's 1/8 inch for this little pin to fit into, and that's just exactly in the middle of this piece. So I got to find the center first. So this isn't real critical. I'm just going to use this simple center to find the middle of the hole. Okay, that's good. I'll lock the table. So the depth of that cut isn't real critical. I want to go in more than 1/8 inch though, probably 160 thousandths, 170 thousandths. And I don't want to come out the edge because it sure won't look good. But it wouldn't matter if you did, but. So I'm going to set the stop there so that I don't go over. We'll go this side. Set this stop. That should be plenty deep. Now I'm going to square this up with a parting tool. Get it in there a little further. Right there. And lock it. Make sure that's tight. I'm just going to go in here and make a good mark so the blade will follow it. So this is a real short piece and I can only grab it by that part. So what I do is put this on the other side of the vise, and that's just a little bit longer than the width of this. And that causes the vise to tilt in a little bit and I can get a pretty good grip on it. I got to put something behind it here too. So I'm going to use this little split arbor that I made to hold it. I'll put that in there. Set the blade height. That's good. Yeah, that's not much of a crown. I think I will put another degree on that. Flip it around because it hardly shows as a crown. That looks a little better. That's 3 degrees. And now I'm going to face it off and do the undercut on this side. I think I can face it off with that tool. Now, this side I'm not going to go so deep because it really doesn't show it's in towards the engine. I have to lower the tool down to finish the inside because it's too high up. Now I'm going to switch it around and put the 3-degree taper on the other side. Put it on the other way. And we'll put 3 degrees on this side and try to hit the middle. A little chalk on the file so it doesn't clog up. I'm going to turn that around so I don't hit the chuck. I like to put a good finish on this because everybody sees that part. So, if you leave a tool mark in it, everybody will notice it. So there it is. Well, I just got to take a little more off of there. You can see there's a little bit of a tool mark there. That looks a little better. That's just the inside, so it doesn't show much, but this is the side that you see. Now we're going to make the part that plugs into this and goes in the drill. That's out of a piece of 3/8 cold roll. When I have it, I make it out of hex stock, but I don't have any hex stock. I ran out of that size except for brass, and I'm certainly not going to use brass. So all I'm going to do with this is make a little bit of an indent on it so that the thing will swivel a little. See, if I put that in there like that, it's solid. It won't swivel. So I want to take and mark it in about that far and make it rounded so this can wobble a little because you won't be able to hold it straight in there with the drill. First thing I'm going to do is take and make a mark here. Now you see you can wobble that a little bit. Probably take a little bit more than that. I think that's pretty good. So once you put the pin in there, it's impossible to do this, so I'm going to do it just a little more. I think that's good. I'm going to put a little bluing on this so I can mark the center of it. So I'm going up there about 165 thousandths, and I'll put the pin on hole in there. This is just a reference. It isn't really that important, but I want to be able to. So First thing I have to do is center this on here, and then I'm going to drill and ream a hole that's 1 undersize and try to press fit the pin in there. If I can't press fit it, I'll silver braze it in there, but I think a press fit will work fine. Right there. Zero it. Back to 0 here. Same spot. Go to 1/2. Crank it back to 0. And there's the center. I'm going to spot drill that right in the middle, and then I'm going to drill a hole that's undersized and ream it to 1 under 1/8. So this is a number 31 drill, which is just under 1/8. I'm going to go through there with that, and then ream it. So this is a 1 under reamer. So now I'm going to make the pin about 1/2 inch long and round the ends of it. Just going to saw this off about 1/2 inch long. I'm just going to round both ends of this before I put it in there. Now I'm just going to press that into that 1 under hole, hopefully, in that piece of 3/8, about 3 inches long. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 1/8 reamer and just start in there so that I can get this pin started straight. So I'm going to do this by hand so I don't go in too far. Just going to get a little start on that. That should do it right there, hopefully. Now I'm going to tap that in there. And there it is. And it's press fit in. So what I found is after I put the pin in there, it wouldn't fit in real loose into the pocket. So I have to round this off more because that's probably a couple of thousandths off center and it binds against the side when you put it in there. So I don't want that. I want it nice and loose. I'm just going to file more off of it. I haven't made one of these in a while, and I realize that you really got to make that quite loose. Let me show you. That's more like what I need. See how loose that is? What I did is I went back here a little bit further with the tool and took some off and made that more like a ball, and that should work much better. Okay, now let's try the fit. It's still a little tight, but I think, so I've got to make the slot just a hair over 1/8 because it has to be absolutely perfect or it doesn't go in there. So what I finally ended up doing was putting a 5/32 slot in there instead of a 1/8 because it's just too close with 1/8. Now you can see I can get plenty of wobble there and it turns it nicely. And that'll make a good starter. Well, the last thing I got to do is put 2 holes in here for set screws, and then when we assemble it, we'll put a flat on the crankshaft, so this is solid on there. If you don't put a flat on the crankshaft, it'll spin eventually and score up this crankshaft. So you have to put a flat on it. I got to measure the depth of this, and I want to make sure that that hole is quite a bit further in than that slot. So that's 176. I'm going to mark that right on there. I'm going to go well below that for the slot, for the hole. Right there. Do one here, flip it over, do a second one there. So now I have 2 points to drill it, and I want to make sure I'm beyond that slot. This is the depth of the slot in here. So I'm well beyond that, because if I hit the edge of the crankshaft, the crankshaft can't come all the way out, obviously, because the starter has to go in there. So I'm keeping those holes quite a bit back. This takes quite a bit of abuse, so I'm going to put in a couple of number 5 set screws in that. So that's a 540, calls for a number 38 drill. That's what I'm using. So I'm going to open these holes up to the size of the number 5 set screw, so I don't have to drill tap all the way through. Now all I have to do is paint it. So that concludes this. You can see that it's got the set screw holes in it. That fits in there really good. And this you can put in your hand drill, and we'll show that when we first start the engine, how handy that is. So you can see how when you put this in there, if you're not dead center, it'll still work all right. You can spin this right up. That's the way it works. The end of video number 20, and I think the last part video is going to be the oiler for the cylinder. We're going to make the oiler that goes in here, and that has to have a cap on it, because when this piston comes down, it comes down so far that you get a little compression pop out of there, and it'll blow the oil all over hell if you don't have a cap on it. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. Thank you very much.